Okay. The next quick rundown of essay style. We're going to work on the persuasive essay. Persuasive essay is an interesting essay because here you have to balance what you want your audience to start thinking heavily about or believing with overt bias. You cannot present overt bias. So let's say, I think the safest but also most interesting example I've ever come up with, or, well, I guess I didn't come up with it, but that I've ever presented to my students was, do you think after school detention helped you or hurt you more when you had done something wrong in school? So this is obviously a reflective piece for both secondary and university, because in university you can look back with more of a distance understanding. In secondary school, as you're writing this, you may still get detention the next day. So, more and more frequently, I tend to get arguments of detention is pointless. But I digress. There are two main ways that you can approach this without destroying your credibility, right? Okay, so let's just go ahead and say we're going to take the road less traveled. That you're a student that has decided to argue detention actually does help. Okay, so in the introduction, what you do is you state the question. You state the question as a statement. So you would say, this is an attempt to determine, or you would say something along the lines of determining whether detention is an effective behavioral technique, is a challenging scenario. You phrase that question like it's a sentence, okay? We know the question that's actually at the root of that is detention effective or not? What you do is you figure out how to articulate that as a sentence. Then you go into, one side would say no, because it's going to make the student resent the school more. The other side would say yes, because it makes the student want to not have to garner that punishment again. And then you go into whatever thesis statement you yourself have, stating, if we're going the road less traveled, yes, it's effective. Because, and then you go, because it makes the student not want to repeat that behavior, enforces to other students that that behavior will not be accepted, and shows what the punishment for that behavior is. Okay? So, now you have your thesis statement, and you also have the paragraphs you're going to write in your 5-paragraph essay. You have your 3 points, so you hit 1, 2, 3. And then, when you make sure that you elaborate and you explain thoroughly each point, you hit your conclusion. If you are still in secondary school, you may still have instructors that are telling you to word for word repeat your thesis statement. By all means, always listen to your own instructor, okay? However, you do not need to solely rely on repeating a sentence that you have already put in that essay. You need to make sure that you tell us why everything you just said in those three paragraphs is important. If we don't know why it's important, we're going to feel like you wasted part of our life. And that is the main thing you never want to do. Make your audience feel like they wasted part of their life.